No.
But we forgot. You forgot the cat named Link.
Yeah, he'll just peace out.
We don't need to worry about no cats named Link. Welcome to Story Mode, everybody.
Welcome back to Story Mode.
Well, they could be a first-time listener.
I don't know.
Don't make assumptions, Ben. You know what that means. It makes an ass out of Umi.
Poor Umi.
Yeah.
All right. And
my friends back home will love that I trying to make that joke a thing.
For how many years?
Too many. Anyway, today we're talking about Link. Zelda. Yeah.
Thanks! And we're joined by Burtis and Taylor, who you might have seen Taylor in our Date Night series, and Burtis is...
I'm new here.
Burtis plays... Yeah. Burtis, who plays Raymond and is in our Let's Plays.
And it was totally new here.
Yeah, and today, for our Story Mode podcast thing, we're gonna rank the Zeldas, the 3D Zeldas, just those. Maybe we'll go do them all at a different time. We'll have to do like two. We'll do this 3Ds, and then we'll do a big 2D one, and then we'll slam them together and have a giant fight.
To the death. Who is the greatest Link of them all?
Yeah, which Link will emerge victorious?
I'd actually like to have that discussion.
Yeah.
But, for reference, because we just had this conversation before we hit record on this, we are not including Phantom Hourglass, Spirit Tracks, Link Between Worlds, because while they are, for better or worse, yes, they are 3D, they are like a top-down, and we're just going straight into like the main platforms, like Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Twilight Princess, Skyward Sword, and Wind Waker.
Yeah, I was thinking of forgetting Wind Waker.
I know. And
daggers at you.
So yeah, we're gonna talk about these games and which one we think is the best and which one we think is not the best.
Yeah, I don't want to say any of them are the worst.
I would openly say
the worst Zelda game. Yeah, we're not doing the 2D ones. Phantom Hourglass and Zelda 2 aren't on this list, so don't have to worry about bad Zelda games.
I'm gonna go on record right now as just saying I'm pretty sure. I feel like Twilight Princess is the worst of the 3D Zeldas.
Oh, so we're jumping in this right away. Burtis is wasting no time here to just be like Twilight Princess.
Well,
we didn't even say like I was gonna be like, so guys, what do you think of the first one? Burtis is just nope.
Well, yeah, forget everything I just wrote in, and fuck it, we're doing Twilight Princess.
Okay, I guess. So do we have any counter statements to that? Something we think would take the worst place? Because my question is going to be, okay, so number 5, Twilight Princess or Skyward Sword. That's pretty much how I was going to phrase it.
My thing was Twilight Princess. I would say Skyward Sword would take the number 5 position over Twilight Princess because the gameplay alone and the technical part of the game made the game so unplayable for me. It was one of the aspects I didn't really get into the game. That and Fi or Fi, whatever their name is, I could not stand them.
I do remember that character being very obnoxious.
Yeah.
I don't have the same problem with the control scheme that you did.
I didn't either.
I did, but...
The thing I always noticed is whenever it wasn't responding the way I wanted to respond, I wasn't using it properly. I wasn't waving the... it had one-to-one movement matching for the most part. So, like, I pretty much guarantee, whenever I saw, like, my brother get frustrated with the game, too, I think I saw him play once or twice, it was the same thing. It's sort of like, you're moving it around like you're playing Twilight Princess still. If you played it like you were supposed to, I always thought it was great.
I must have to go on the record here and say that I originally had Twilight Princess with the GameCube. So when I first played through, I didn't have the slashy things. I had the controller,
which I think would probably be better. You also had the world in the right order.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like, on the Wii, it was flipped upside down,
right.
which really pissed me off a lot because it's like it was supposed to be the world from Ocarina of Time again, and it's all backwards.
Right.
And then when I got the Twilight Princess HD edition from one of my friends for Christmas, it was controller again, so I never had the problem of...
I think you're missing anything from that one.
Yeah, really.
It didn't necessarily add or detract from it. I didn't feel...
I felt like
for Twilight Princess especially.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I would say it felt like it did kind of detract from Twilight Princess, just because of the fact that...
Burtis, so why Twilight Princess?
Weakest controls, in my opinion. I mean, I didn't play with controller, obviously, until the HD remake, which I've only played minutes of.
Well, then can you stand on that criticism of it?
I would say so.
Okay, fine.
I mean, it was labeled as the first, movement controlled Zelda, and the movement controls were so simplistic and so basic that it wasn't immersive in any way. You couldn't really get into it because you had to do motion controls and physically move yourself, but in such rudimentary and shitty manners that it felt.
I don't ever remember it being that, I just remember it being very simple and straightforward. It's you swing around to swing the sword. I never really had a problem.
I guess it was
just so simple.
That really kind of pissed me off because you had to aim your hand out and aim the bow and steadily
Isn't the bow work differently too between Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword?
Because the bow,
the bow works amazing. It's really fun to play with in Skyward Sword, and I do think I remember that about. Because remember that about the there's that horseback archery course that you can do. It's just frustrating as all crap. And
I will say, as far as if we're gonna hang on the control note for a second here, as far as Twilight Princess,
let's not hang on this for long because we're story mode.
Okay.
But Nintendo tried to achieve something. This was the first of it, and it was probably just a little bit more ambitious than they wanted.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So as I thought about that, though, so I'm we're story mode. So we should be focusing maybe a little bit more on the story rather than just the gameplay. Burtis, you can hang out. You can be our gameplay guy here in the corner.
Yeah. So I would say.
So so I'm kind of weighing it in my own head, Skyward Sword or Twilight Princess.
Honestly, I think Skyward Sword is either number 1 or number 2 for me for story.
For story, really?
Yeah.
For characters, for me, Skyward Sword is also last because Twilight Princess, every character that you met had some sort of importance. Even the bartender at Telma had an important part to play. Minor characters like Colin's dad and even the children, they all had some big roles. And it wasn't just they weren't just side quests. They played an integral part of the plot.
There just really weren't a whole lot of characters in Skyward Sword.
But
there's sort of the central above
biggest turnovers from one of the characters, and that was Groose. Groose became one of my favorite characters because he has a whole arc all of his own.
Yeah,
he's your bully.
I'd play the Legend of Groose.
I will say that Groose is one of the redeeming parts for me.
Admittedly, I'm kind of as I'm thinking about it more and more, though. As Taylor mentioned, the characters does remind me of one of the few things in Twilight Princess that actually bugged me a lot, which is I think I probably will put Twilight Princess also at the bottom. That's where I'm deciding what my number 5 would be, because I remember once you get the third or whatever MacGuffin from the game, and you
first tier.
No, that's not the mask yet. It's the something other.
It's the Twilight Shards.
Yeah, you banish Twilight from the realm, and everything's nice except for the castle's encased in a crystal or something.
Yes.
Yep.
And Zelda's gone. I have no idea what's at stake now anymore in the game. It was one of these things where it's the first half of that game, the stakes are high. They feel like you're moving towards something and accomplishing something, and then it feels like you've just beat the game in the middle of the game.
Yep.
And it's why is there still any conflict here? Everything looks fine.
Yeah, other than you have to save the princess.
Yeah.
But the princess who does nothing and barely exists in that universe. I mean, she's there, but
I'd like to give Skyward Sword some extra points too, because it allows Zelda to be her own character.
Yeah. It was the first time that she fully came into her own character.
I would put Spirit Tracks.
I would put Spirit Tracks there as well. I was hold on there for a second.
That's one of those where it's, as much as I would be trash on Phantom Hourglass, I actually really like Spirit Tracks.
I had a lot of people tell me Spirit Tracks is pretty good. But back to the main 5.
Well, my thing was when you're saying that there was no plot, attention shifted from Zelda to Midna. Now that's where I was even more interested in it, because now I'm helping. Midna's now kind of pulled that wall away she kept up between her and Link, and now she's trying to get her people back. She's trying to get rid of Zant, and Zant being there is a problem. So
I suppose it's just one of those issues of, because you're not in that space, though, you don't get the sense of how that matters or is at stake for your world.
Mm-hmm.
It also hasn't really been elaborated in any way until later after you've done stuff.
Until you've already pretty much there.
Yeah, until you know that oh wow, these people are actually kind of oppressed.
It also somewhat. I also want to put Twilight Princess at the bottom too, because it somewhat obnoxiously just decides, and Ganondorf's back.
Oh god, that was frustrating.
Because Ganondorf.
Yeah, Zant was really interesting. Yeah, because he was just kind of this mad ruler, and then
weirdo enemy. There's I'd like this being the bad guy for the.
And they ran right back into Ganon corrupted him. And it's just well, I mean, I get it. That's what Ganon does.
It turned into a cool end boss fight, but
yeah. But I thought the fight with Zant was great.
Yeah, I prefer that one actually to the final boss fight.
Yeah. Just because, you truly, I think, kind of get how insane he is. Because he keeps porting you through different little areas, and he just does this weird cawing and dancing. You're just like, what monster am I fighting right now? I don't know. Like, there's so many interesting things about Twilight Princess. I'm not going to sit here and say this game sucks, but I think...
Hey!
But I think there is a lot of... I agree with you about the stakes. I absolutely agree with you about the stakes thing. But I think there's so many different little nuances, like the characters being like, you get to the Wintertop and you meet the knight.
Yeti.
Yeah. But yeah, the Yeti couple, but yeah, the knight there that's from Hyrule going, hey, I've been surveying the area. This is what I found. I don't know what you can do.
Oh yeah, I remember those the night guys. That's the other thing too. Is it's just as much as there are other characters that play roles, it's like none of them play quite enough of a role to really make you start to feel who they are or what they are. They're just kind of there just enough to be
try to flesh out a world there.
Yeah.
That's what I do appreciate about it.
I think the game is necessary for world building, just for Zelda lore, but I think the actual game itself was pretty weak.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't want to say it was. Let's see. Weak,
I think
but
it
just
also had
not as strong as the other 4 that we're looking at here.
But I don't know. It had simplistic puzzles. Also, the dungeons themselves weren't very.
Yeah,
complex.
that was my biggest problem. Is I could blow through those first 3 dungeons in an afternoon.
I mean, you can go through
I remember the
game
first
in an
water
afternoon.
dungeon taking a long time, actually.
Once you kind of got, it's a pattern, and once you got into that pattern,
because I still remember that.
The water
it's just a lot of like water flowing in certain directions.
Third one.
Oh yeah, it is the third. And then at the end,
I just remember that being
clam thing.
Yeah, I just remember that being a really long dungeon.
Yeah, it is. It is a long dungeon, but it's not. I wouldn't say it's hard, but it's long. It's just tedious.
The other thing too is
backtracking.
the opening is also very long in that game.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's
Cutscenes.
a long.
It had great cutscenes, but it was not great.
It had great cutscenes, but
there are a couple things I like about the thing it's trying to do, but just a lot. I know too many ways is the opening just too slow.
Like the whole like Ganon's like kind of story there and how it whether you want to subscribe fully to what Nintendo said this is the timeline or not, how it plays into like Ocarina of Time.
Had they really established that yet?
Yes,
released
in their book.
Well, no, I think didn't the book not come out until after Skyward Sword though?
It came out.
It came out after. Yeah, same. It was released.
Yeah, but
with
so my
Skyward
point
Sword.
though being, do you think Nintendo really had this in their head at the same time?
That's what I don't know.
Because like
there was a lot of things that can connect and make sense.
Because at the same, this is around the time that came out and just before Skyward. I remember it was like there were huge theories about what the actual timeline was.
Yeah.
And there were some people who were really angry about how the timeline ended up. Because one, they didn't, they had no idea there was going to be a third prong to this time split.
Yeah, that's the biggest one, I think. Because I think it makes a lot of sense where to maybe tie into the next game. So Link, when he goes back as a kid in Ocarina of Time, he tells Zelda about the plot against Ganon. He gets banished, which leads into Twilight Princess, but during the banishing process, he kills 2 sages. And then he goes into the Twilight Realm where he corrupts all the Twilight. If you're looking at that timeline.
I thought that was the one where he... Oh, wait, the Twilight Princess one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I thought that was the one where, he goes... The one where you see at the end of Ocarina of Time where he goes back in time.
Well, yeah, when he goes back in
That's the
time
time
and
manager.
warns Zelda of the plot, that's when they try to banish him. Because then when Link
Ganondorf.
Ganondorf banished.
That's where I got really confused.
I
got really confused by the pronoun game you were playing. I'm like, what? Where did this come from? Link turns into a bad guy? That would be
how
awesome.
Majora's Mask is born.
Why haven't I played this game? You get to kill 2 of the sages? Do I get to pick which ones?
This is actually Link's
My
crossbow
God, which
training.
sages would you pick? That'll be another story mode.
Ruto and Raru. Fuck them.
But yeah, I think we should maybe quickly address like Ocarina of Time because it is a linchpin, I feel, to a lot of these other games and how they span out and progress.
No, absolutely not. We're just going to keep talking about what we're going to talk. Well, let's go on. So our number 4 then. We're kind of sitting here debating Skyward Sword as number 5 possibly. So is that pretty much squarely a number 4 then?
It is for me.
For me, I would say because arguments are solid, but Skyward Sword would be in either number 4 or number 5 for me. Those 2 though, I love Twilight Princess and I think Midna was my biggest draw. They're in the bottom for me.
Yeah,
you're gonna throw a wild card in here.
Yeah, I think I still might put it in number 2 because I know what my number 1 is. Number 2 though because it's such.
So then what would you put at number 4 then?
Number 4, I actually might put Ocarina. Not to knock Ocarina.
No, I'm actually thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Really?
The more I think about it,
Ocarina did a lot of great things.
yeah, it's a very stalwart game.
Yeah.
But it's also very kind of cliche. Even when it came out, it was kind of cliche.
Mhm.
It was a very traditional adventure story.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if we're going to
And
put
pretty
these
much
games...
any flaws that a Zelda game has, Ocarina of Time has, and any
Yeah.
things that it does well, it does well.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't do any of these things, I think, as particularly well as some other games do. It doesn't engage you, I don't think, quite as well as some of the other games do.
I mean,
Yeah.
what a lot of people have when they go...
That was quite the thing to open the floor up to, because we had 2 exasperated sighs come from our newcomers. That was amazing. Go ahead.
One of the things that, when people look at Ocarina of Time, you're looking also at nostalgia. This is some of people's, especially my age, it was their first Nintendo game. I remember opening this game in an N64 on Christmas and playing through the first 3 dungeons on Christmas night. And so, when you're looking at this game, you're looking at it in a sense of nostalgia, so people are going to definitely bite back when you say number 4. But the story mode... The story for me, it is repetitive, and you do get bored of it. Especially when I played it again as an adult. I'm like, man, this isn't as fun as when I was a kid.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say maybe get bored of it, but I understand where
I got bored right at the water temple. Because
the Jabu Jabu or the actual
the actual water temple. The water temple. I would have said the whale if I meant the whale.
When anyone refers to it, doesn't matter.
That was a whale.
It doesn't matter what Zelda game we're talking about. If someone says the water temple, it's the water temple from Ocarina of Time. There is no confusion here.
And of course, I remember as a child though having to have my older sister play the Shadow Temple. Because I was terrified of that.
Bongo Bongo was a creepy boss.
I burst into tears
the
first time one of those monsters came out of the wall and snatched you.
Oh, yeah.
That was a really creepy dungeon.
Yeah.
But you have to realize, I was raised Catholic, no monster movies, no nothing. So when this thing popped out at me, no way, goodbye.
Yeah, and I don't know, because I tend to agree with Chris, I'm not, I mean, obviously it's a top 5, and even if I expanded these to all the other Zelda games, it's still going to be in my top 5 Zelda games. But as far as these, when it comes to story...
Might not be in mine,
Yeah.
actually.
When it comes to story, though, yeah, I mean, it does exactly what a Zelda game needs to do, especially establishing forward any other Zelda game. But like Skyward Sword, it's tried something new, I felt like, and really tried to divert and go in another direction.
Well, in Skyward Sword, at least, like I said, I'm pretty much always going to give a little bit of extra credit to this point to any Nintendo game that gives Zelda some agency and some things to do. It's the game series is named after her.
Yeah.
So, not necessarily going to take it away if she doesn't get anything to do.
Yeah.
Because there's one that we haven't touched on that probably be very near the top.
Well,
that she's not even in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
But she is in.
I feel like we've squashed Burtis a few times here. I'll open the floor up to you.
I'm not going to fault you guys for putting Ocarina of Time at number 4. I would probably put it at number 3 myself.
Okay.
I think that your point that Skyward Sword has opened up the floor and done new things is true, but it was also very true for Ocarina of Time at the time.
I mean, well, in what way?
In the sense that it was the first 3D Zelda. It was the first
but
one.
Just being I don't know. I'm gonna I'll give you credit for the idea that they did a really great job of translating the 2D gameplay to 3D.
Yeah.
But the idea that it's doing something totally new that wasn't done at the time is I don't want to really give it that because there were other Zeldas.
But there weren't 3D Zeldas. There weren't anything.
No, but that's what I'm trying to kind of make a distinction here. It's they translated 3D really well. I don't really like the argument they did something new and different that no one had done before because it's also. There was Mario, there's other 3D exploration games, and there were other games where and there were swordplay games. There's Medieval and...
Medieval. Anyways.
And there were all kinds... so the idea that it did something unique and...
Well, the introduction of Z-targeting.
What?
Z-targeting. The actual combat was...
I mean, yeah, but there's tons of things they did that really effectively...
as far as
focused the gameplay.
But I would say it's the foundation for what they've improved on for Majora's Mask, Skyward Sword, even Twilight Princess. I mean, they've all built off this same concept, the targeting, the
but I'm
just
talking
because
about the story. Though.
Yeah, but we're also trying to focus a little bit more on the story, which is why you're the gameplay guy. But at the same time,
I absolutely agree with you.
Sure. So they made a great gameplay thing, but then there's all these other quality of life changes that they've added to the series since then that aren't in Ocarina of Time that make them way easier and more fun to play too.
But as far as the story goes, I mean, it is essentially Ganon kidnaps Zelda again. It's about to plunge the world in darkness.
Yeah, about the only really, really cool moment in the whole thing is when you find out that Sheik is actually Zelda.
Yeah.
And then, unfortunately, then, too, the whole coolness of that is pretty much kind of eliminated by the fact that and here's Ganon to capture her. As soon as it's revealed that she's Zelda, now she's captured. So.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's...
I mean, how much cooler would the end of that been if, like, instead of Zelda getting captured, you infiltrated the last temple with Sheik?
Yeah.
That would have been fantastic.
Cool.
That would have been so cool.
But you're thinking very progressively for a video game that they made in the 90s.
I don't know about that. It's not like you couldn't have just had, like, you know, you run into Sheik, like, at the beginning of the temple, they say something, and then you run into, like, just before the mini-boss. It's like, yeah, I got all this stuff together. Here's, like, the special key for the boss room. Like, you don't need to get it this time because Sheik got it.
Yeah.
Like, just really simple.
Because, I mean, if you want to talk about Nintendo being progressive, Samus. That's all I really have to say there.
That's true.
Nintendo's pretty much always ahead.
Yeah.
But the Sheikah
Well, sort of. I mean, there's an argument the fact that, like, because originally Samus was a reward for getting to the end of the game and getting all the accomplishments. You saw that it's a girl. I get to see girl pixels. You know, when I take off the suit, it's a girl.
That's fair.
So there's, and they kind of have kept that. So it's a little bit of objectification of Samus on the part of Nintendo.
Which we're not here to argue about that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's a very different story mode.
Very different story mode.
But as far as Ocarina of Time goes, I would say the Sheikah Stones as, like, lore objects. The ones that if you have the the Mask of Truth, you can speak to them. You can, like, learn the lore. It's the reward for doing stuff as a child to be able to find out, oh, hey, Sheik is Zelda, before you actually get the big reveal. Find out where heart containers are hidden. It's world building. It's also, like,
I don't know about calling it... because I don't remember them saying anything. It's like, here's plot. Or anything like that. I don't remember them revealing anything that big.
I mean, there was also stuff about, like, Nabooru. There was stuff about, like,
You really
Ruto.
don't want this to end up at number 4, do you?
I really would just like to see Skyward Sword there.
I think though
This might be the most heated on that one, though.
Yeah,
because the problem is, Ben's like Skyward Sword is his number 2.
Yeah.
He's got that ranked higher than your Ocarina of Time.
is my number 3. It's definitely my number 3.
I think Ocarina of Time's gonna end up as a number 4 here.
Yeah, but.
Try as these two might.
Yeah,
to prevent it from ending there.
That's not the one I'm going to fight for.
We've got to come up with some shocking moments here to get people to watch us. we can't count down The Legend of Zelda and go, Skyward Sword, Twilight Princess, Wind Waker, Majora's Mask, and the best one is Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
Just shocker.
Like, standardly reciting back how we grew up.
That's when Chris just pulls out a chakra. Just like...
Chakrams.
That was real chakram.
No, you can leave now.
Anyway,
Ben's
so,
no longer allowed.
Yeah, no, but Twilight Princess was just a bad game.
We've moved on. We're moving on to number 3 now. So, I'm pretty sure number 3 now is going to be Skyward Sword at this point.
Yeah, I might agree with you on that one. Just because
I don't think you're going to be able to argue it up to number 2.
Well, just because I don't know how I keep forgetting this one, and I do have to place that number 3. There's another one that should go ahead of it. But no, Fee's gameplay. Fee's entirely gameplay. Why that
Fee is also story play.
Fee is also part of the story. She's
a character.
She's fine for the story.
Have they confirmed a gender, or is she just gender?
It's genderless. It's the Master Sword. It's the spirit of the Master.
I don't know if it matters. I mean, you can imply, she's probably feminine, but
well, whatever.
Yeah.
Who cares? She's the magic fairy for the
exactly.
Like,
she's your helper.
The character that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And I thought it was interesting what they tried to do with Fee. It just unfortunately came down to the gameplay where I'm just like, I'm so annoyed with her that I'm having a hard time connecting, but I understand the importance.
I almost want to give it to Zelda, to Skyward Sword, just for literally the one, the Sand Sea. I don't think I've played a cooler section in any Zelda game.
Yeah, the Sand Sea is really
so
fucking cool.
So whoever
like the
came
pirate
up
fights.
Whoever came up with that area is just nailed.
That's probably my favorite part about Skyward Sword.
Same.
It's it's one of my favorite moments in Zelda. Period.
The only thing,
it's really cool looking. It's really engaging, and it's just it's unique.
The thing that I feel, and this kind of I guess might relate back to story that really drops the ball with me for Skyward Sword is the bosses. The bosses in the other game, you kind of understand, like Ocarina of Time especially, you kind of understand why they're there and why this is affecting where you're going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
sort of. I mean, there's kind of a question of why. I mean, I guess why are they defending this, or why does Link have to kill these things in the first place?
Ocarina of Time, I mean, it was established Ganon had put them there.
Yeah, and they said like, oh, the Gorons are starving, or this is happening because of this. Like, they made reasons happen.
They did the this because this kind of a thing, which I thought was effective. Where Skyward Sword, like, and
they did a lot more in Twilight Princess though too.
They do.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they do. But I mean, the most disappointing, like, and really just like the what it looked like was just weird. Was the big Kraken boss with the giant eye and the?
I really liked it.
It was a cool fight.
Yeah, it looks really weird.
Yeah,
but I
that's
saw
the thing that
Monsters,
really
Inc.
kind of really kind of threw me off. But like, there's a couple of them where you get it because Girahim is just like, okay, I've summoned this monster from the depths of whatever to fight here. But I thought Girahim was an effective,
True.
Antagonist.
I did like Girahim quite a bit.
Well, yeah, definitely.
Well, that's just a huge Japanese trope. That's a different.
But like,
but
everything, because even towards the end there, when he's trying to like bring about demise, he kind of gets turned on by that, and he's like upset by it. Like his struggle for power is so consuming that he didn't realize what was happening to him.
It's unfortunate that you don't ever go to like his castle or something.
Right.
So,
But also,
that'd been a cool level.
You brought it up, Demise. The most annoying mini-boss, I guess you could call it.
Yeah,
I don't
that
know.
was annoying because it was just so repetitive.
Yeah,
but it was a really cool concept.
Because
it's
the whatever
the big black monster with
Yeah.
the toes.
the
toes.
Which turns into the last boss fight.
the Colossus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I actually really liked that boss.
I
I
did.
will
Yeah.
say my
I didn't like that you had to fight it a bunch of times.
Exactly.
In the
and I think it's
exact same manner.
usually, but there's also like tricks to it too.
Yeah.
Like you could figure out some really
Where
neat ways
by
to-
the last one, you had to get Groose to use his cannon to keep knocking him back.
And that was the really cool thing too about
Yeah.
the end. It's like you get to fight with Groose. At the end.
Yeah, I know. That was awesome.
Also, we bring back Groose.
yeah, Groose is one of the
one of
most charming characters.
Yeah,
You hate him.
Yeah, one of the
Still
best
don't care
characters
for him.
in all of Zelda.
Yeah.
Alongside, I'd put Midna up there.
Yeah.
yeah,
my
Midna's
problem-
one of my favorites.
My only problem with Midna is the same sort of thing. It's like, I did with Samus. Is, apparently, at the end, she has to turn into a hot chick.
Yeah.
It's just like, why?
I mean, I kind of got the idea that they were going to do that because Midna was, even as a short little imp, had an hourglass shape.
Sure,
And
but I
when
mean,
you're
it's-
coming from somebody.
Right.
I don't
someone
understand
who-
why it needed to change in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why it couldn't just be like, and I got my power back or something like that. It's like,
Yeah.
I liked Midna as she looked. She was interesting and compelling,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's the other thing. I think that's probably what bugged me the most about it. I don't understand how the way she looked kind of impish fit with her characterization.
Yeah.
Whereas when she's now this queen, I don't understand how that fits with her characterization as this person in this body, where it fit with the first Midna model.
Yeah.
So
But
what-
Groose, one of the best characters in
Though I
Yeah.
will say one of my favorite
series.
parts about Skyward Sword is the dragons.
Oh yeah, the dragons are cool.
Because you would go on for years and years and years of hearing the story of Nehru, Din, and Furor, and you think they're these three goddesses, and nope, they are fat dragons.
Yeah, it's great.
It's great. And it just sort of...
Okay.
They,
yeah,
and
I
they, do,
remember.
and they
I
kind
forgot
of
a lot about
dismantle the lore, and it for me, as someone who's studied history, seeing how it got distorted after all of the centuries that passed, it made sense.
Yeah.
I just wonder how the hell they get goddesses out of...
Well, I mean,
That is...
You play telephone with anybody, it's like
I'm
Pogo Stick
wondering
really turns
if-
into something different. By
I
the end
wonder
of it.
if Oracle of Ages and that was a part of it, because if you remember, Nehru and Din and Furor were in those games, and they were oracles. They weren't goddesses.
They
were
were.
fairies.
I thought they
Yeah.
were reincarnations or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I wonder
They
if
never
that
really.
was their
They never really
idea.
explain explicitly what they were doing.
But I gotta open this up. Why do you hate Groose?
I just don't like his character. I mean, his character growth, I acknowledge. It's good. His actual, mannerisms, the way he treats you throughout the game, at the end of the game, he's
is
I
this
guess,
a Johnny?
on your
Is this
level.
a Johnny Depp thing?
This is the starting point.
I don't care
For those
him.
those unaware, Burtis has a
Unexplainable
phobia to
fate,
Johnny
yes.
Depp, apparently.
Yeah.
And no, I mean, it's not like I'm afraid of him. I just don't care for him. Even at the end, I mean, yeah, he's more acknowledging of your stature, I
gross.
guess, but I just don't care for him.
I guess why?
I don't know.
Because I mean,
he's rubbed me wrong the entire game. Just because he helps out at the end doesn't mean we're best
but he doesn't
friends.
just. I mean, yes, he helps at the
I just
end.
love the scene too where he's falling from the sky and grabs you.
Yeah, but the biggest change happens when he's with you at the temple of was it the Temple of Time technically?
I think so, or something like that.
Yeah, because that's when his whole arc begins to change and he stops treating you like crap, and then he has the big moment at the end where he gets to help you. He basically goes through an entire hero's journey.
Actually, in general, the other thing too is Skyward Sword actually has some funny moments to it too.
Oh, yeah.
As I'm thinking back.
I mean, Link's expressions alone. You got so much out of his personality.
He's one of the most expressive Links next to Wind Waker Link. I will always fight that Wind Waker Link is the most expressive Link out there.
Yeah, I mean, he's just a cartoon face.
Right.
That's what he was designed to be. But yeah, the Skyward Sword.
Skyward Sword. So, number 3, I guess.
Yeah, number 3, Skyward Sword.
So this is where it gets really interesting, I think.
Yeah, I'm honestly at the point where for 1 and 2, I'm not necessarily
we're probably
have a
all
strong
on the same
idea.
I don't know if we are.
No?
I have a pretty keen idea of where I want it to be.
And this is going to be blasphemous to anybody who hears this. Number 2, Majora's Mask.
See, I think I'm leaning
Holy
the other way.
You actually agree with me.
I think Wind Waker might be the strongest one.
Yeah. And I've got my own arguments for Wind Waker.
No, I think I'm really going to have to lean, especially if this is story mode. We could do, and we probably will do, a story mode on Majora's Mask.
Right. I
don't think we could make one on Wind Waker.
Oh,
at least
definitely could.
at least one that would not be nearly as long involved. And we'll start touching on this a bit.
So wait, we're on number 3 then, right?
No,
We're
we're
on two.
we're
Okay.
1 and 2. We're arguing between
Okay.
we got Majora's Mask and Wind Waker here. So yeah, we've kind of got what people are saying. So Burtis, you kind of got to decide.
Number 2, I'm putting out Wind Waker.
Oh, all right. So we got another sort of bit of a tiebreaker here. We got to
Wow.
do. So we got to have a Wind Waker versus Majora's Mask audience or argument here. So I guess since Ben, you stepped on first. You stepped out in the field first with Wind Waker and putting it above Majora's Mask. So
here's what I will say: that Majora's Mask did one of the greatest things that we have yet to see in a Zelda game since, and I've been dying for this for ages. Another villain other than Ganon, and by the end of the game, it definitely was another villain other than Ganon. He has no involvement.
Yep.
It's an interesting world. It's a very dark and depressing world. All the characters are fun that you get to interact with. And you truly get to come out feeling like a hero out of that game than probably any other game next to Wind Waker, I feel like. Because you're in a world that is so dark, and you come out triumphant, and you're just a kid. Mm-hmm. But I can make that same argument, I feel like, for Wind Waker. Mm-hmm. And there's just something about Wind Waker and the struggle between Link and Ganon in that one, which I feel is better than any other struggle between Link and Ganon in any other game. Because it feels more personal at certain aspects. And to me, that's what's engaging. Not to say that this... Because really, you can make the argument that, yeah, it's personal between Skull Kid and Link, but it's not Skull Kid anymore. It hasn't been ever since he donned the mask.
Well, I think that's sort of one of the things that they kind of leave ambiguous, is how much
Yeah.
of it really is the Skull Kid and how much of it might actually be Majora.
Because I think
Influencing the Skull Kid, because it's never really explicitly said like, yes, this is Majora until the very, very end, and it's never explicitly said, oh, it's just the Skull Kid being the Skull Kid.
And the only
it's kind of
exposition-
implied that it's sort of a mix, like it's probably influencing his
Yeah,
attitude.
the only exposition you really have is from your fairy, and your fairy is basically saying like, well, it wasn't an immediate shift; it was
Which
a
is also
gradual change.
the other reason, one of the few reasons I'd put Majora's Mask on top. Anyway, Tattle is my favorite of all your companions. I like the King of Red Lions a lot, but Tattle is just...
I would say that
she is full of personality, and even though she's just a dinging noise, you get so like you know what kind of personality she has.
Yeah.
I will say that Wind Waker, I think you mainly have two, both Tetra and King of Red Lions, because Tetra does jump in and aid you several times throughout the game.
Yeah.
So I would say you had both of that.
You
can
can
argue.
pinpoint that King of Red Lions is your fairy character, but yeah, Tetra does take that role quite a few times. It's something that I enjoyed being shaken up, especially because who is Tetra?
Zelda.
Spoilers! But
Yeah.
yeah, again though, this is coming to the weaknesses though. As soon as
you
Tetra
meet
is
her.
revealed to be Zelda, she begins to have no relevance in the story at all.
That's fair.
Until the final.
That
end,
is fair. I will say that
And it's
it's
just like that's a particularly annoying too, because it's just like, I get magically turned into having a dress on, and now I'm Zelda, and now you can go out and solve all the problems. It's like,
yeah.
I will say that I think Majora's Mask is my favorite for the fact that Zelda is very little involved. I mean, aside from
she's in one cutscene that
one
teaches you
cutscene.
the Song of Time.
I mean, this is a very standalone game for Link. It's his hero's journey in like a million different ways because you're playing through so many incarnations that he can take form of, and you're helping out an entire like land And every character has their own, like, growth. As far as actual characters who have to grow, you have Ingo at the bar, you have, the Gorman brothers. But, you have the Zora tribe that you're helping by reuniting the bands.
You have the Deku King and all those people.
You have
the Gorons who are freezing to death.
You have the child who has lost his father, who you basically assume his dead body of.
Well,
but
I think you're missing one of the best side quests, and that's the couple.
Yeah.
Keife and
Keife and Anju.
I will say that is the best side quest in any Zelda game that's ever been.
Yeah, especially since the way you have to end that too.
Oh.
There's Majora's Mask is a world. I've never played a game before, really, or since, and part of it's just the way it's set up.
Yeah.
Because you repeat the same 3 days, so you see all the routines of these people. You know it's a world because it's presented to you as such, as the same way that you'd like if you had to relive the same 3 days over and over again of yourself. You know, like Groundhog Day, you see the same thing. People all doing the same routines over and over again. It still feels just as real a world. It's such a clever way to approach building a space.
And you can really interact with each of those characters because you can help out certain ones and not help out the others. And they still have different timelines that would not intersect then. If you don't deliver the milk for whatever Malin's older sister is, Marin, you wind up not being able to do like the Zora bar and all that other stuff. I think it's just a really well thought out and crafted story.
Yeah, especially as it's amazing. It's kind of confusing to wonder like why they haven't tried to do anything like it since.
Yeah, I mean that's always been beyond me too.
And it also is one of my favorite dungeons in the Stone Tower Temple.
Yeah, that is easily the most challenging dungeon I've ever gone
through. It's not. It is challenging, but the right level of challenging. Because there are a couple of dungeons, I think Zelda dungeons, that are more challenging, but they're way more obnoxious. And a couple of them are
Ocarina.
There was like one or two in Ocarina. The Water Temple, for sure.
Yeah.
And then, which is the one with the double hook shots? Where you
That's
Twilight
Princess.
because I remember that one being kind of obnoxiously complicated.
It was,
yeah.
Like, it was cool
Also,
what you got in the boss fight.
Stupid upgrade.
Yeah.
But
now I have two of these. Yeah.
A very overrated kind of idea of what they try to do with that. Is that Twilight Princess?
That's Twilight Princess.
Yeah. Sky Temple.
Yeah.
With the weird Akus.
I mean,
the chicken things.
Yeah.
Uko.
With Wind Waker, there was a new aspect to this game that what really drew me in was there was a new culture that arose that's very obvious in this game. If you looked at our current world culture, definitely the way they speak, it's definitely, you get tones of English, Celtic, Ahoy there, things like that. They made a whole new way of speaking. And when you read the characters, you can hear them speak in your head. Mm-hmm. So when you had the fish,
Shrimp or small fry? Yeah, that guy.
You saw
just because
this,
of his little noise and the way he's written.
Yes, and you just saw these new cultures arise, and it's something new and beautiful, and they managed to be just.
And on that point, what are the flying tribe called?
Oh my God!
They were Zoras.
Yeah.
Which is the whole lore background to the world is what's really interesting to me because especially the first moment you step into Hyrule. When you go down and you're just and you realize where you're at.
There are a lot of really neat moments.
Oh my God.
But one of the driving forces behind it is you have these different cultures that may have never ever touched because of this vast sea. And you have the merchants trying to bring aspects of these different cultures together, which is a very long side quest that when you do, it's one of the most rewarding ways. Stop it.
I don't remember that one. Which is that one?
You have to keep giving the flowers to the Goron.
Yeah,
they're
buy
technically
the Goron
Gorons,
flowers,
and you give them to them, and then you bring it back,
to the
and
Eskimo dude, and
and you're helping with commerce because the one who has the monopoly on that is what's his name?
Beetle?
Beetle has basically a monopoly on the commerce.
Guy.
So you're looking at different aspects of this game that it's very different. So, and of course, when you first play the game, when you're on your GameCube, it was maddening because it took so long to get from Ireland to Ireland. Island to island. Shut up.
That's the real twist. It's all Ireland. Brexit.
So you go from island to island, and then when they released the new one for the Wii U, they fixed that. You don't have to find all 7 pieces of the Triforce. It's very easy for you to get.
Although that's one of those things where I'm kind of I want to say we're kind of focusing more on what at least the initial release was,
Yeah.
though, because it's kind of unfair to be like, well, then they re-released it and they fixed these problems.
Yeah.
But yeah, for 10 years though, I haven't played the re-release.
The re-release
of any of them.
is...
I've only played Ocarina of Time.
And they only fixed gameplay stuff.
They fixed gameplay stuff.
Like,
it was nothing...
as far as-
The one thing I will
Totally
say about
different
Wind Waker that is definitely very cool, though, is sword in the forehead.
Oh. Yeah,
Oh,
right?
yes.
It's like being like, what?
That was, for something that comes off as lighthearted and funny,
It's the
that
darkest
is
death.
the darkest death I've seen. And
This is
and
such
the
a
fact
stark
that
contrast.
and,
But yeah,
and the
Ocarina of
King
Time,
of Lions
same thing.
commits suicide. Basically, he
Yeah.
kills himself to make sure that that Tetra and Link survive.
Yeah.
I will always refer to her as Tetra because she remains after the fact that
after the
happened.
fact, yeah.
She is still Tetra. So. It's very dark. It takes this dark turn, but throughout the game, it's just there's this lighthearted energy that I think was missing from Zelda games. Like it's just no matter where you go, there was always some sort of fun and whimsicalness to the game.
But you also were what I appreciated about like Majora's Mask is also in a way applied to Wind Waker, where Link basically unites the world together, and as Taylor expressed. All these cultures were so separated from each other, but one boy and a kid, I will remind, binded everybody back together, which is, again, just demonstrating, especially at the end with sword in the forehead, this is the kid of courage. This is the hero of courage.
Is it? Oh.
Yeah,
I don't
he's
think it
courage,
is.
gaining his
No,
power.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about which exact hero is. 'Cause
Yeah.
yeah,
he's the hero of the
he's
wind.
technically
Yeah, he's the
considered.
hero of the wind.
The winds, yeah.
He's the hero of the winds, but he's technically the hero of courage. Like he is a hero who bears courage.
But, so...
I might, on just one last note, I feel like the reason I think Majora's Mask stands above it to me is he does it all on his own. Like, he literally does it on his own guiding force. With the islands, you start off, you're trying to rescue your sister, but then you're guided by the King of Red Lions the entire time until you get Zelda.
There is kind of
Guided by the
there is
giant
kind of this neat... Sort of, but... sort of. Once you get your... face back after your first 3-day period, there really isn't anything to say. It's like Link could just go, yeah, screw you guys, I'm going back to Hyrule.
Except for
Enjoy
you
your
can't,
destruction.
because the
just-
Mask Man will not let you leave.
Oh, I thought that was just a gameplay thing. That
you have the Masked Man as your driving force.
Well, but I mean,
Well,
at
I mean, at the same
you can
time,
walk
though.
past him. You can walk down to that door. You can't go through it, but I mean, you can walk down to it. You
I don't know.
could
I'd have to play
theoretically.
through that section again. But okay, I want to put forth my so this is going to be my argument about Majora's Mask,
Okay.
and this is why I think it's the best one, because thematically you can start to break this game down into greater ways than you can do any other Zelda game, except for the possibility of Link's Awakening, the Game Boy one, which is another. Which to me, those two are probably
Yes.
my top two. Zelda's overall. Like the only other one I'd be like, Link to the Past is up there somewhere, but just because of
Link's
gameplay.
Awakening's always been the unsung hero.
But so one of the neatest things you can do if you look at Majora's Mask, you can very easily look at it as a game about death, about coming to terms with death. One, every single mask you pick up from the game, or like at least transforming mask, you pick up off someone who dies or died. Which is, one, really dark. You're essentially taking over some dead person's body.
Mm-hmm.
But beyond that, as you travel through the world, the order of the worlds that you travel through actually correspond very, very cleverly to sort of the order of dealing with grief and dealing with the grief of dying. What is the pattern of anger, or denial, anger, bargaining, acceptance. There's one more in there.
Yeah.
Sadness and acceptance.
Yeah, but if you look at each of these, denial is the first. Is the first one. Is the Dekus.
Yeah.
They won't accept that their swamp is changing, and then there's depression. It's what's the next one? Is anger. It's anger. It's like I can't remember quite how you break this down, but you can look at each of these too, and you can see that it's like as you travel through this path of grief, of the idea that you died. And it's the whole thing too is set up from losing a friend.
Yeah.
You lost Navi from the first one. You go off to find a new friend. There's this whole roping in of themes in a way that I don't think they ever quite managed to do in a Zelda game. Again, that's so impressive. And again, just the way you step into any place. Like, yeah, you can go to Wind Waker, and I feel like you can go to town. It's like, yeah, there's this town, there's stuff going on, there's neat things. But it's like, you go to a place on day 1, you go to a place on day 2, you go to a place on day 3 in Majora's Mask. They're wildly different, usually. there'll be different people having different worries about different things. You go to the clock town, in the middle of town. Day 1, everyone's just going about their business. Day 3, there's some people throwing, going nuts because they see the moon's about to crash.
Yeah, you have people who are evacuating town. They're leaving their friends, their family, their everything, just in a sad attempt to try and flee.
Yeah, and it's just to save themselves. And I don't know, it's just so dark. And by the time you get to the end of it, too, the other thing I love about it, too, is you don't really think about this when you're playing Majora's Mask. But you don't really save the world. All you do is stop the moon from falling.
Mm-hmm.
All of that stuff that you did in all of those other timelines never happened. All of those people still have their problems. For the most part.
That depends, though. How do you judge that? Because of the way the credits roll. And if you've done everybody's side quests, if you've completed everything, it shows the credits, the world has moved on, and everything's been completed as you've done it. You stopping the moon has actually fixed everything.
Well, maybe that's part of it. I mean, look, I can't remember how clear it was, because it's been a while since I played Majora's Mask. Because I don't know, is it necessarily that clear? It's like, yes, since you did this, this is now happening. Because it could also just be implied that that's what's naturally going to happen anyway. I mean, I know that there's something like, if you did the Andrew Kafei subquest, it shows something like that.
You have the wedding at the end.
Yeah.
But if you've and some of the characters
but there's
are
also
there.
But there's also the question of Link returned at the end of Majora's Mask. How does he know what happened? Maybe this is just his imagination of what happened. You can't necessarily just look at that and go, like, it's very easy for me to go, like, yeah, that could just be like Link's like dream
fantasy
of
scape,
like what he thinks things were left like now that he did everything that he could. Because to think of it this way too is like, if I were spending all this time going back in time and now I got through it all and just saved them, it's like, would I want to spend the time to now fix all of their problems again? Maybe I'd just like to sit and go, yeah, and this is how these things happen.
But if you're looking at themes of games, Wind Waker has a theme of vastness.
But how does that translate to anything? Sort of...
It translates to this... to me, it translated as to nothing happens in a day. Because when you play the game, you probably are out at sea for months and months. So while you're doing this, you probably have been away from home for, I would say, even a year. So you're looking at a hero's journey, but in a more realistic time frame.
See, that's another thing, as you're pointing out, you're away from home maybe for a year. I don't know how long it takes for Wind Waker to happen.
And you don't know, but
there's not a really good sense of...
You also don't know how long Majora's Mask
takes.
happens.
You actually
3 days.
It takes 3 days.
Does it?
Yeah.
How many times you have to... And however many times you have to go back.
Yeah.
how are you defining this, though?
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying, like, time passage. No, but that's what I'm saying, is you get a very keen idea of how much time is passing in a Zelda game. In Majora's Mask. It's like you have a very good sense of timeline. Like, this is happening now, and then tomorrow this is happening, and this happens, and Link is all doing this and this and this. Wind Waker, as you kind of point out, it's like vastness. It's like, I don't know that I'm feeling that, because I don't know necessarily how long time is. It's like, is the trip between these two islands supposed to be weeks? Or is it really just supposed to be the minutes that it takes me to get there? I don't really know that. And that also breaks down the idea of, coming back to your thing over about these completely separated cultures, I never felt that in Zelda, because it takes me minutes to get across the sea. And maybe for them it does take weeks. But
that's why they have
that.
the sun. It is expressed though, with the sun setting and the moon rising and the weather changes. That's time passing.
The culture's also
sure.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, yeah, sure, that's time passing. What I'm talking about is, okay, so it is, let's say you measure in game distance. It's a mile from this island to this island. Does that correspond to a mile in real life? Or does that correspond to much longer than that?
You would lose your audience if you did that.
Right, but I mean, if in-game it takes you 2 days to get there, it takes you 6 minutes.
But that's my point,
life.
is where something broke down for me, is I don't get the sense that you guys were talking about of these completely separated cultures, because it only takes me a couple minutes to sail from island to island.
Even with the music?
Yeah, even in-game it only takes 2 days.
Because, I mean, even...
Why are they so separated?
Yeah.
I mean... Because, okay, traveling from Outset Island to Windfell. In-game shouldn't take you more than maybe 3 cycles of the day moon. Like, sun moon.
It takes you 4.
Okay. That's 4 days. From point A to all the way at point B, which is the far side of the map. Why are they so disconnected from everything if it's only a 4-day journey in your tiny little boat?
Yeah, it's really... I'm just trying to draw some criticism against you guys kind of saying this thing about how it feels like a big, vast world. But I'm kind of saying it's like... I never quite... Like, there are moments where I really feel like it feels epic. Like, the moment when you're, like, sailing into a new place, a new port, and the sun's either coming up or going down on the horizon, it just feels like, yes, this is adventure. This is adventure. But, like, I never really got this sense that you guys are talking about that sort of is,
Majora's Mask being what it is, in Wind Waker, it's a sense of adventure that you get. Not everybody has that sense of adventure. Everybody has their own sense of adventure, but it might not appeal to them. Grief and death is something that happens to everyone.
Very universal.
You have to relate to it.
That's another reason I'd say, like, it's a more effective, more powerful thematic thing to step on is death, and it's a very
Here's
very
the thing,
potent
though. I didn't
concept.
see it as grief and death until someone pointed out to me when I was much older. To me,
but that doesn't necessarily mean
change that it's present.
Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily change the thing that you could not have pulled that out, though, or that isn't because here's the thing about thematics: you don't necessarily have to see them or be like, oh yeah, I got to the end of the game and that's totally about this. Is like it's sort of just a thing underneath the surface. When you kind of start to look at it, it might really start to then all add back to each other. And I feel like I feel like that is really present in Majora's Mask in a way that I never felt is there in Wind Waker. Wind Waker's got a great story and a great world, but it's just, it never comes together in nearly the same neatness that Majora's Mask does. I mean, you can just feel like how everything is really meshed together. Like Burtis says, like, if you don't deliver the milk to these people, or you don't stop these bandits, you don't get the milk at the bar on day 3, or, you know, it's all these little things get connected to each other in interesting, intricate ways.
But I guess I feel the same way about Wind Waker, because the whole world comes together by the end of it. I mean,
It
comes
in the middle.
Way.
In the middle.
I'm having a real hard time. Like, I don't. Maybe it's been a long time since I played Wind Waker, but I don't remember anything nearly as complex as sort of the ways in which you had to do this on this day to affect this on this day to affect this on this day.
That was part of the gameplay mechanics of the 3-day, and if you didn't do it, you can go back and do it again.
It is, but you also have to like spend the time to learn these people's culture, their lives. You actually have to invest the time to figure out what happens if I don't.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time seeing where
if you
guys
don't
are
water
drawing
the flowers, nothing immediately
here.
impacts anything. You still have
I guess
the rest
my
of the
thing
game to
is-
finish it off. If you don't do the milk during a certain time frame, you might never figure out, oh, hey, I can't get Ingo to give me this
Except for you
mask.
can keep going back and doing it.
But what indication do you have if you're not spending the time to learn these characters?
You can't really progress in the story then at that point.
Yes, you can. That's actually just a side quest.
Yeah,
you can
but you
complete
have
the game
to
without.
really get intricately involved in these people's lives.
That's the other thing, too, I'd point out, too, is, you know, at the end of Wind Waker, how good your ending is always the same.
That's fair.
Majora's Mask, it is very much dependent on how much you really do want to help people. Not, you know, as I point out, maybe it is just Link's dream at the end. But again, that changes based on how much you do. So if you help everyone, you get this very nice looking ending. But if you don't help everyone, it's not quite so nice.
Also, if we go down to like, I mean, I know this is not story, but the final end boss fight with Majora when you're up in like the tree.
Not only is it an epic fight if you play it straight, you can, if you collected all the masks, you get one of the best rewards in any game I've ever played.
For the completion of learning everyone's lives, getting into their details, knowing how they react with each other, you're rewarded in this insane, boner-hardening moment when you can just pull out that sword.
This is where it does become funny, because if we were to add every single element of the game, I'd probably put Majora's Mask as number 1, because there are things about Wind Waker on a gameplay mechanic that do irritate me. But yeah, I mean, that's just...
But that's gameplay.
But like it is, because the point is, you cannot separate story and gameplay entirely from games, because they do work together to a degree. Like if they are completely separate, I feel like that becomes a problem. Like then you end up with things like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a game off the top of my head. That, you know, it's like it's kind of like Metal Gear Solid in its worst moments, where it's like I'm playing something and then now I'm having a story told at me. I'm playing something and now I'm having a story told at me.
Okay.
Like that's when if you don't have gameplay and story going together, like some of the best games, like Prince of Persia, Sands of Time, has these very intermeshed together. Papers, Please is another one I was talking about. Like I want to do a stream about that. I could not talk about the story of that without getting into the gameplay of that either. Gameplay and story are very tied together. But like I'm trying to. I wish I could remember what point it was that he made. It's like that. Maybe I
feel like that was the whole beginning of this. Was like there's the.
Well, I want to say like we're leaning towards story instead of gameplay, but at the same time, it's like we can't then just throw out gameplay entirely and be like we're just reviewing the story, because that's not really possible for a video game. Like it's the same thing as going like...
When you are a player who has to actually
it's the same
move
thing
the
as
story
like,
by physically moving a controller.
Yeah, it's the same thing as like if you review a movie, you don't just go like, we're just reviewing the story, we're not reviewing the editing.
Okay.
Because like, we have to review the editing too, to a degree, because the editing is an implicit part of the movie.
So alright. I'll get the tiebreaker up.
Yeah, finally.
Nope.
Alright. At least with story mode.
Well, we might have to trim that down a bit at points.
Eh.
I mean,
I didn't expect it quite this heated out of this, so yeah.
Well, we made a very bad mistake of bringing in an even number of people for something that if we had an odd number, if we had either Burtis or just Taylor here, we would have had a much actually oddly bringing in both of them really changed the order of things.
But at the same time, I mean, I know for length for our show and all this stuff, it was nice because of that debate at the end, because nobody was allowed to, because that's what I kind of felt bad about with Burtis being Twilight Princess being thrown into whatever, and he was really vehemently disagreed with it. Yeah. Two or three voices quickly overpowered him. And it was just, I was surprised there was a tiebreaker at the end, or a tie at the end.
I was kind of leaning both ways, and then when I kind of thought a little bit more about Wind Waker and Majora's Mask, it really comes down to, if I were to want one of the stories told to me, I'd really like it to be Majora's Mask. Like, I just feel like really what it comes down to for Wind Waker to me is that it's too many of the same standard tropes and stuff from the older Zelda games. It's a lot of retread from Ocarina of Time. It's a lot of retread from Link to the Past. There are some unique things here and there, and like some unique new places. Like here's the bird people or the Coke Rocks or whatever they're called. But they're all sort of spins on things that were already there. Whereas Majora's Mask decided to take all these things that were already there and just kind of create new, interesting stories with them. Here's the Zoras, but they have this band, but one of their lead singers dies. Here's the Gorons, but they're freezing to death. Here's the Dekus. They have a kingdom, apparently, but apparently,
being poisoned.
Yeah, that's being poisoned.
It's funny because it comes down to where I've sided with you on the argument of why superhero movies are kind of crap now because of... You have these wonderful characters that you could do a lot with, and all you do is rehash the same stories.
Yeah, and it's sort of like, I like a lot about Wind Waker. I mean, I would easily put it pretty much on,
Yeah, I mean,
we were arguing between which is number one and number two.
Right.
Like, not which is, like, the best and which is the worst.
Yeah.
So, if I'm willing to, like, it's just there's something about Wind Waker doesn't quite
and a lot of the heatedness on my part comes is just, I guess I didn't exactly know how this was gonna... I was confused for a week. I mean, I told Burtis about this a few days ago. I'm like, I don't know how this story mode's gonna play out. And I guess I felt like I came in equipped enough, but not better enough. I think that was a term I'm coining from Chris.
Better enough.
Better enough.
I don't think you used it the right way.
Well, I don't think I used it the right way.
Listen, Ben, you're going to do this more better next time.
Yeah.
I just felt like there was a few tools that, like, I wish I brought with me, and I'm kicking myself.
Yeah, there were definitely some things that maybe...
I haven't played any of these... I think I played Ocarina of Time a year and a half ago for the 3DS. I haven't played any of these games in years. So, like, a lot of you guys bringing things up, I know I've seen Taylor at least play one of them.
You've seen me play both of them, actually.
So, yeah. So, these are one of those things where, as you're bringing things up, I'm like, God, I don't quite remember that. I remember lots about these games.
Yeah, like, well, I don't even remember the Mummy story. I remember the Mummy
the Majora's Mask, for whatever reason.
But I don't remember.
I'll ask, too, it's been about the same amount of time since I probably played almost all of these, and Majora's Mask is the one that just stands the most strong.
I haven't played Majora's Mask since I was 12.
I can give the other thing too is I can give is if we were to really get into as we kind of get into this is gameplay and story coming together. I will give Majora's Mask the one thing is its gameplay of the whole day cycle thing is like they kind of fix it a bit. I haven't played the DS version of it yet because I'm bummed out that they changed some things that make it a little easier. Mm-hmm. But yeah, with the ability to close it and start it and stop any time, that like fixes the big problem of when you were playing is like you had to sit down and play it for like hours at a time. You couldn't just play it for like 20 minutes and get a little bit of progress.
Right.
Which is really the only negative thing to me about Majora's Mask.
Yeah.
So if you're
because it was so different from
Ocarina. If we were focusing even more on gameplay than on story, I would probably maybe even go like your ways. Like I might lean it towards number 2 and put Wind Waker up a little higher because there's across the whole thing, you can play Wind Waker for 30 minutes and
I felt Tensions Rising that it was probably just one of the better debates I've had considering other company that tends to be around when it comes to debating.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
anyway, so our final list here, guys, for those who've sat here to the end.
Are we doing individually or just as
I mean, well, no.
As a whole.
So we said as number 5 was...
Number 5?
Twilight
Princess.
Yeah.
Ugh, the worst of the Zelda games and the shittiest game of... Wait. No, that's just Burtis' opinion. Number 4, Ocarina of Time.
Yeah,
Kind of surprising it ended up that low, but not terribly.
I'm not terribly surprised either.
Number 3, Skyward Sword. Actually, it's a little bit surprising.
I need to replay that game. Looking back on it, I think I was being a little unfair with it, but yeah, I think it has a number 3 spot.
I
I think it's going to be one of those games.
Way,
it's going to be very dependent on whether or not you can continue to play with motion controls, is how well it ages, I guess.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be one that's like you might lose track of it if you don't have a Wii.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then number 2, Wind Waker, and number 1, Majora's Mask.
Ooh.
So yeah, come back. Eventually we'll have the 2D Zelda countdown,
Which I'm actually looking forward to.
Which I can almost guess right now is going to end in a debate between Link's Awakening and A Link to the Past.
Yeah. Wait, no Zelda 2?
That one's at the bottom. It'll be the exact same conversation we're having right now. ... So, thank you for listening to Story Mode and listening to us get angry at each other.
I think that is the angriest that we probably will get.
No. There'll be others.
Yeah, there'll be more.
When we talk about Mass Effect, I'm sure.
That could potentially very much happen.
Jesus.
So yes, tune in for more Story Mode in the future. Thanks for listening, guys.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
Bye.